Hello, everybody. It's Graham Cave with another My Music. It's for those who are live and contacting us through the medium of the social media right this minute. It is 6 o'clock on a Friday, which means that you've put your work down. But that's only if you're in the UK. Where my friend Bailey is coming from, it is now 11 o'clock on the other side of the world, which means it's coffee o'clock time. But we're going to now watch a little video. When we come back, we're going to be talking all things music, etc. Bailey is someone I've been trying to get on this for ages, but she's busy. And we'll find out why in a minute after this. Bailey, thanks so much for coming and talking music and all of that stuff with me this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
I said right at the beginning, you're busy. You are busy. Are you not? Yeah. You're busy. You're busy building this little empire, right? Of you and music, but that takes a lot of work, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it didn't happen overnight. I actually started music professionally when I was about 11, and I'm 20 now.
Wow. So, that's a lifetime already, right?
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime when people are like, "You're so young in the business, you're so fresh."
I've been doing it forever.
I've been here forever. But yeah, I like to stay busy.
Yeah. How did you get started at 11?
So I grew up on country music originally. My dad was a huge Johnny Cash fan, and so he would take me to ballet lessons when I was like 6, and he would sing "Walk the Line" to me in Folsom Prison.
Do you know what? I was wondering how those two things were going to go together. My dad was a big Johnny Cash fan. He took me to ballet lessons.
Yeah, he would sing those songs to me, and that's kind of how I first originally got into country. But I just loved music as a kid. I mean, I come from a really, really small town back in Pennsylvania, and that wasn't what people were doing. They weren't singing, they weren't really performing out. And it wasn't until I got to about late elementary school that I really started like sinking into music that I wanted to listen to, and I kept gravitating towards like really old country, like Patsy Cline and Hank Williams and George Jones, and I would listen to it day in and day out and be in my room as soon as I got home from school singing constantly. And luckily my parents noticed, and they let me kind of go into the studio and record a couple songs, and we came to Nashville and just started literally letting anyone who wanted to hear me. And that's kind of where the journey started for me. It was pretty generic and pretty old school for Nashville.
Yeah. Why the older artists? Why are you an older soul? Do you feel trapped in there, or is it, what was it about? What was it about?
I think so. I believe in, living many lifetimes, and I think I'm probably on one of those because there was no reason. The first song I ever heard that made me want to do country was "Crazy" by Patsy Cline. And it was because you could listen to the song and know exactly what she was trying to convey with her voice. The emotion was really strong there. And somewhere along the way, they kind of really lost that in country music. And I think it was so important. And that's what drew me to her. But I mean, I was 11. There was no reason I should have even been interested in that. So maybe I am an old soul.
When I sit and watch you on Instagram and it's you playing your guitar and you're singing, there is a timelessness to the way that you perform. Is that part of it, do you think that's what you kind of tapped into as well? Because it's almost like with a lot of music, not just country music, but a lot of different genres. We've kind of sped up over time. We've kind of like, I've got to get to the end of the song. It's almost like, you know, a rush to try and get as much in as possible. It's like we live in the 30-second
well, we do
soundbite generation of like, get the whole song in there. But, you know.
I studied, I mean, when I was young and studying all kinds of music, I really studied it. And I studied more than just the music. I studied the way they performed. Right. And I could find, once I found an artist I liked, I would find every single live video I could watch and just study, because I just wanted to get more knowledge on who I wanted to be as an artist. And I think you kind of have to look at your influences and see what you like about them and what you don't, and kind of mash it all together to become what you want to be. But I do agree with this time in music is very 30-second clips and writing a song for TikTok. And that's not something I do. That's just not something I can do. And it baffles me that people are doing it, but I understand it because that's the music business right now.
Oh, well, do you like it in a way then that you're actually messing with the algorithm, that you're actually getting people to follow you on things like Instagram, because you've got a huge following on Instagram, and people are actually paying attention and actually giving it the time? I mean, that's a nice feeling, I would think.
Yes, I'm very grateful that I kind of do whatever I want to do on social media, and people respond well to it. But I think it is because people are looking for that emotion in the music again. And you know it when you can feel it, and you know when you see something and you're like, that's kind of not right. So
do you also feel that, like, you know, following that sort of the history of music as well, that the earlier country was also closer in a way in terms of roots to blues and you know, other stems of music as well? So in a way it kind of had more of that kind of real history and also more pain in it, I guess, as well.
Well, yeah, I think I mean, a lot of the artists in that day most of their lives were tragic. If you look at a lot of the artists, they were living really, really hard. And I don't know if it was that time period or just the way that some artists live, but they were really living those songs. And I think I've also talked with some people where they believe, you know, all music comes from blues and soul, and just kind of stems outwards. So I think
they certainly weren't faced with the tough decision of which Rolex to buy that month, were they?
No, of course not. And it's just funny now what it's kind of turned into. I enjoy a lot of the music on the radio, but would those artists in that day enjoy that music? I'm not so sure.
Do you have any more modern influences that you know, people that are out there at the moment that you look to as, or you know, even maybe peers that you look to and go, actually I really enjoy what you're doing?
So when I was younger, I mean, I don't know who's my age, I was a huge Taylor Swift fan. And it wasn't
that name gets mentioned every single show.
Because she's iconic and her songwriting is incredible. And just I've talked to a lot of people who were with her in her really early stages, and she worked harder than everybody else. And I think people kind of try to discredit her because, okay, well, maybe she doesn't have Whitney Houston vocals, but she has this following that she is so good to, and she knows how to interact with her fans. And
she absolutely is a workhorse. She should look, you know, 50 by now,
right?
Really, just for the effort that she's put in.
And even right now when she's on tour, she's going, I mean, hard every single night. When she was in Nashville, it rained, and I think they had to wait like 4 hours. She played till 2 a.m. I see people complaining because like they have to play one show. So it's just incredible what she's done in such, I mean, it's only been, I mean, her career's been what, 20 years now almost. But it's just amazing. So she's someone I look up to, but artist influences, like real influences, a lot of them have passed. So.
Right. Is that what? Is there an influence in there or something that you listen to that people would be surprised about? They would go, "Oh, I wouldn't ever expect Bailey James to say that."
Oh,
You know,
well,
what's
so I
what's
went
the guilty pleasure? You know,
I went through a big soul blues phase, and I listened to a lot of Donny Hathaway. I love Donny Hathaway. I actually got into him through Amy Winehouse because
right? Yeah,
she did a cover of his song, and I just always liked her because she was super honest and a little bit of an asshole, and I appreciated it. So
yeah. She was a
yeah,
rebel. She was
yeah,
a
exactly. She
yeah.
was rad, but a lot of Donny Hathaway. Who's someone else people wouldn't expect? I listen to. If you look at my playlist, people would be like, "What's wrong with you?" I was listening to the Beastie Boys yesterday.
Judge, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
It was
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Was that like early Beastie Boys or later on?
early Beastie Boys.
Early Beastie Boys.
I'm
Where it
from
was
Philly, so
incredibly fun, wasn't it? I mean, it really just shook everything up.
yeah. And when it comes on in front of, my aunts and uncles who were in that era, they go crazy. It's like they're 20 again. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
that's
absolutely. Look, everybody needs music for different things in their lives.
yeah.
Right? And people don't get this sometimes that, they look at an artist and they go, "Oh, you there's no way you would listen to that." But it's like, oh yeah, just sometimes I have to let my hair down. And I'm not stuck in this perpetual kind of,
And I think, I don't know, listening to other music has drastically changed the way I write, and even just my music in general. If you look at from when I first started to now, all the music I've made, it's like been like do because I was exploring and kind of just figuring out really what I wanted to do while listening to all this music. So
is there anything that you've physically struggled with in terms of producing music?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I have the vision in my head as soon as I write a song, and trying to get that exactly right is so incredibly hard. And sometimes I'm like, well, this is how it's meant to be. This is how it came out. This is how it's meant to be. But there's been a lot of times where I really wanted a record to sound a certain way and it didn't. And there was nothing I could do about it because it was already over. And so that was kind of tough for me, which I've kind of gotten into recording my own stuff, because if I can record it on my own, then I can have a little bit of control. But that's been my, I think, biggest issue, recording music.
I've got Scott watching. He said, "Evening, GC. You're working overtime, brother." Yeah, I know. This is late. This is late for me. I very, very rarely do an interview past 5:30, and the reason being is because we've got little ones here, and one of them is awaiting a diagnosis of ADHD, and he gets really quite, So, but there are certain guests that I make exceptions for. There we go. That's all I'm going to say. What about the voice? Because your voice is just absolutely amazing. I mean, do you struggle to maintain that voice? Do you ever lose it? Do you ever, do you have to give it a routine every day to what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was operatically trained.
Cool.
So I was classically trained. And I think what people don't realize is that classical singers are the most technical, on point singers in the entire world. No other genre can compete. They work every single day at what they do. And in my little small town in PA, there was actually an opera singer, and she had toured with Pavarotti. I mean, she was world renowned.
Wow.
She wanted to give lessons because she was kind of over that point in her career. And so she taught me from when I was about 11 to 15, 16.
So you've got a diaphragm to die for then.
Oh, yeah. She taught me everything I know. And I still, I went through some trouble and had to get a tonsillectomy because my throat was always inflamed and I was sick all the time. And I was also singing at the same time with that. But I've never had any damage to my voice, luckily. I'm pretty lucky in that way. And I know my limits. So.
Yeah. but you've got this emotion in your voice, which
I think that comes with I've been, I've gone through a lot in my life, and I've had a lot happen, and I don't really think I had that until that happened. And I have this theory that when you go through something really, really tough, it kind of is your voice. And so that's my theory on why I get so emotional, just because I have so much to emote to.
Well, it comes over, it really comes over. In terms of the things that you want to write about, you do write about.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone that hasn't tuned into your music yet, just go through some of those things. What is it that you're trying to connect with, that you're trying to write about?
Well, I mean, I'm very honest about my own mental health struggles, and I've had a lot of loss in my life. I lost my brother, and I think you can really see. I get into a lot of dark stuff in my music, and I try to be as light as possible with it while still being as honest as I possibly can. And you can definitely see that in the music. And I don't talk about that on a daily basis. It's not something I'm like just telling everyone. So I think when they get into my music, they can really see what I'm going through at that point in my life, especially in relationships. I love love, and I love to write about love, and heartbreak. I love all aspects of love. So love and life are the two things I really write about in my music that no one would know about if they don't listen.
Is music your safe space in life?
Yeah. For sure. I think songwriting is therapeutic for me. And even if it's a horrible song, at least I wrote it and I got it out there, so I can try to move past it.
Now, look, we said right at the start, you're a busy young lady, you're ambitious, but how far does that ambition go? Where do you see yourself, and what is success to you then?
Success to me, well, I want to go as far as I possibly can with it. But yes, sky's the limit for me. And I really do believe that. I think what you believe in yourself is what you're going to get. And so I want to take it as far as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. And I have a lot of new music I've been writing that I'm very, very proud of. And I just can't wait to release it and share it with people.
So we need to start booking tickets to see you with Taylor next year then.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I love that.
Well, actually, I say that, but then again, who would you love to share the stage with? Who would be that, who's around now? Who do you feel would like be the person that, if you could open the stage with them or come on and share the stage with them, that would be the highlight.
I really love Chris Stapleton. I actually saw him.
Oh, wow.
He's not an entertainer, but he is an amazing vocalist, and that makes up for the fact that he just stands there and sings. And so I think he's incredible, and I would be really, really honored to open up for someone like him.
Have you worked out whether your voice goes well with Chris's voice? Have you tried that? Have you,
I sang a bunch of his songs, but I never know. I never know if my voice is going to blend well. I've just recently, like in the last 4 years, really gotten into blending and harmonies, and I was never good at that when I was a kid, and I'm like, well, it's just not going to happen for me, but it takes time and repetition. Okay,
so Chris, if you're listening, I mean, if you want to send over some stems and let's have
it would totally be okay.
Yeah, let's see where Bailey goes with it. That would be, in terms of your own writing, etc. What do you do to push yourself to the next level in terms of your writing all of the time? What do you have any techniques in terms of things that you sort of try and push yourself into doing on a regular basis to go outside of a comfort zone and push yourself forward?
So honestly, no.
That's the best answer ever. I bet a load of people that have been on here have gone, yes, and I've done this, and then they've actually gone, no, I haven't really.
Yeah, I'm someone where if I don't want to write, I don't write because that's just who I am when I'm in this creative mode, and it'll come for like a week or two and I'll be writing every day and I'll be writing really consistent songs and they're amazing and it's there.
Do you do other creative things though when you're not writing?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, anything where I can create. So like painting, I've done a bunch of that. I have a bunch of artwork in my room that I've done.
There you go.
But for me, if I have to think about what I'm writing, it gets really technical. So I appreciate the other people coming in and being technical and saying, well, this is this and this. But me, I just want to like write it all out. And I don't try to force it when it's not there. But it probably would be good if I started to use a couple, techniques.
We talked about other artists that you might want to collaborate with or work with or share the stage with. What about producers? Is there anyone that you've looked at a producer would go, oh, I'd love them to play with what I do?
Who produced Lana Del Rey's last album? I'm trying to remember.
So am I, but it's a brilliant album, isn't it? Isn't it?
It is. First, I was like a Lana Del Rey fan right when she came out, and I had no business listening to her stuff because I was young and it was dark, and that's what I liked about it. And just to see how she's kind of grown into her own thing, and I think she's really where she wants to be. It's beautiful, and she's an unconventional pop star, so it's like all pop. But whoever produced that, I feel like did an incredible
do you
job.
love the bit right at the beginning of the last album where they get the vocal wrong and they've left it in there?
Yes, and you can hear her like hitting her vape in certain parts of the song, and it's like,
I know.
leaving this all in there.
It is. There's a lot of actual background noise in there, and a lot of sometimes the sort of production goes a little watery, doesn't it? Which I really love.
It does, and I think the way that her vocals sound are just, I don't know. It's something about her vocals for me. Her vocals carry all the songs, even if the songs, like some of the songs that weren't my favorites, the vocals were still there. So whatever they're doing with her vocals, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen, we need to make sure that she's tagged in as well.
Yes.
Just so you know, you can nick her producer, and and B, you never know, maybe a collab with Del Rey is on the cards as well. That would be what are we going to hear from Bailey James and for the rest of 2023? What do we expect to?
So I'm hoping to go in the studio in the summer, cut a few songs. I've been writing a bunch. So more music for sure. That's kind of all I've been doing is writing and figuring out where I want to go, because I definitely want to record an album. So that's what you can kind of expect.
What would that mean to get that album out there as well? What a bit, I mean, from someone that seems like, as you say, a little bit of an old soul, I bet physically having vinyl, right, is quite important.
It's very important to me, and I've never released an album. I've always kind of done it the modern way and released singles, but I hate that because I think when you're writing an album, you're also trying to write songs that flow together really nicely, like a work of art. And so I appreciate that process, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now, and it's much different than what I've done before, just writing to write. So it's a challenge for me. And
yeah, that's a good challenge. What's really great about it though is that I think you're developing an audience in a modern way on social media, doing it in quite a modern way, but actually you're because you're doing it in your way, not the way that everybody else thinks you've got to do it with the 30 seconds and whatever.
Yeah.
You're developing a big audience who will want that album when they're ready for it, because actually you've managed to already create an audience that will sit and listen.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, it took a long time, and it was a lot of me just in the beginning answering as many people as I possibly could that would listen to my music, because I would send it to people. I was sending my music to people, and to see how my
When did you start the social media thing? How long's that taken? Just to give some people, you know, if any youngsters are watching and they go, right, Bailey James is it, right? How long's that actually taken? Because, you know, people need to know this stuff so that they have an appreciation.
Took me 9 years, 10 years to
Wow.
get my following to where it is on Instagram. Took me 7 years to get verified. Took me, oh my gosh, so long to get verified. And then they're like, just pay to get verified now. And I'm like, it took me so long. And, you know, it was constantly persisting and doing the same thing over and over again, trying to be consistent as possible with my posts. And I think you can really see a change in when I really started getting into social media and really getting into what I posted, because it is your image.
Yeah.
Social media is your image now. And you have to
I just want to say at this point, any kids listening, right? You know, those people that slide into your DMs and say, pay me some money, I'll get you X amount of followers tomorrow. It's rubbish. Just don't listen, right? It just doesn't happen like that.
It doesn't.
Any of us who have built any kind of following on any kind of platform, it takes time.
It takes time. And I think when I started on Instagram, you know, it was such a big new place, and it was probably a lot easier back then than it is now. Now it's like TikTok for me, trying to navigate TikTok.
Right. Yeah, I've just started on TikTok. That's my new thing. Yeah. I mean, goodness. I mean, I'm old, right? It's really hard.
Stop.
But look, I do grumpy really well. So that's where I'm going for. Like yesterday, I just posted a thing on TikTok about the fact that why the hell would anyone watch this? And that's good. You know, that's done really well, right? Because you know, I think you just got to be yourself.
You have to be yourself and find your niche, find what works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, my main platform, this is going out on several platforms. My main platform during the day is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, I have 21,000 followers on LinkedIn. It's taking time.
Yeah,
folks. It takes time. You don't just, you know, turn up one morning and it's like, oh yeah.
And it does happen. I mean, for some people, they blow up on social media with one post, but the longevity of that all depends on the person. And I think when you blow up from one post, it's really easy to sit back and be like, well, I've made it. I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, but when you've worked for it and you've earned every single person that comes on there, those people stick with you.
Yeah,
because you've worked on the relationships there to get it to that.
Yeah, point. No, I completely agree. It's definitely,
and that's important.
A better feeling.
So, album, hopefully.
Yes.
Maybe early next year. Maybe.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, fantastic.
I don't want to rush it. Because I'm in the process of wiping a few things off of my catalog that I'm not so proud of, because we all put out things we're not proud of. It's the process, but I don't want to rush it. I want it to kind of be what it wants to be.
So that is an ambition for the year. What about guitar sponsorship? Because you know you've got lovely fingers. Your picking's great, right? So you need a great guitar, right?
I would appreciate that. My goal. I mean, I'm a Taylor girl, so I would love a Taylor sponsorship. That would be really, really wonderful.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, on LinkedIn, I know Loudon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had some conversations with him sometimes, you know, about, and their guitars are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, look, if you're watching, Loudon, Taylor, you know, whoever, anybody that makes a guitar, a Bailey James model would be appreciated at some stage.
So appreciated.
Yeah. What would you have in the inlay on the neck? Would you
I have
You
no
go,
idea.
if you could have like an animal or
Ooh.
or something on the actual fretboard, would you?
I don't know. All I know is that I want all my guitars to be red. My favorite
Red?
color is red, and so the first guitar I ever got was this like red electric, and it's a really
Yeah.
weird shape, and so I've just kind of followed that, and I got a guitar this Christmas, and it was also red, so they're all red except this little sunburst I have over here. But
There you go. So it's got to be red.
yeah,
It's absolutely got to be red. Listen, you've been an absolute star. Thanks for coming on.
thank you.
Thanks
Thank you for
talking.
having me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. If people haven't found your
No,
music
stop.
yet, right? If they haven't found your music, why? But just in case, because there are some people out there that just listen to the radio, and that's just
that's
right?
okay.
Which is fine. No, it's not. But if people haven't, where's the best place to go to find? Because you've got website, all of that. So tell people where to go so they can,
So you can find all my socials, all the links to all my music on my website at baileyjames.com, or all my social media handles are Bailey James Gang.
And can people buy your music as well as just stream it?
Yes, it is on all streaming platforms. If you buy it, it's greatly appreciated. If you listen to it on Spotify, that's okay too.
Well, it is, but I have a rule. I have a rule, Bailey, and I'll tell you this. I've told it to every other musician. If you're going to just stream Bailey's music, which is absolutely fine, it's completely legal, etc., you have to buy merch.
That's fair. That's very fair.
It's fair, isn't it? It's a fair exchange, right? T-shirt for listening. Okay, that's the way it works. That's the currency. That's the way that the world goes round. Because if you think about it, a T-shirt's about the same sort of money as a CD.
Yeah.
But you don't need to have the CD if you want to have empty cupboards. Personally, I've got 6,500 of them. I want to insulate my house with music.
Yes.
But if you don't, that's not the thing you're into. Just buy the T-shirt, or just send Bailey some money.
Oh, stop! Thank you, guys.
Why not? This has been the wonderful Bailey James. An amazing voice, an amazing talent. Please listen to her music. If you enjoy it as much as I do, then tell her, because that's the main thing. She really wants to know. And do share this with your friends over the next few days as this is going around. Not for me, because as I've said a million times, I'm old, but for the artists that come on, because they're fantastically talented, unlike me, and they deserve it. So do share it around everywhere. This has been the wonderful Bailey James on My Music. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and stay safe out there. Okay, bye for now.